Have you ever felt like everything was going great with a woman? The connection was real. The energy was mutual. The chemistry undeniable. But then, out of nowhere, she starts to pull away. She's less responsive, less open, and suddenly, you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? The truth is, it's not always about you. As relationship expert Dr. Laura Berman explains, there are many deep psychological reasons why a woman might pull back emotionally even when she cares for you deeply. Today, we're breaking down 20 powerful reasons behind this behavior. Understanding these can transform how you view relationships and bring clarity to what feels confusing. Let's dive in. Reason 1. Fear of vulnerability. And a woman starts to emotionally withdraw, especially after things seem to be going well. It can feel confusing, even painful. But often, what looks like rejection is really something deeper. Fear of vulnerability. Love has the power to heal, but it also has the power to hurt. And for someone who's experienced betrayal, emotional neglect, or abandonment in the past, getting close again can feel dangerous. Intimacy requires opening up. It means showing someone your softer, more fragile side. But for her, that may have once been met with pain. So instead of leaning in, she pulls away. It's not that she doesn't feel something for you, it's that those feelings have triggered old emotional wounds. She might not even realize it's happening. This reaction can be subconscious, her nervous system recognizing closeness as a threat. Because in her history, closeness wasn't always safe. And here's the tricky part. The more she starts to care, the more vulnerable she becomes and the more her protective instincts kick in. That might look like emotional distance, silence, or even pushing you away. What can you do in moments like this? The answer isn't to chase or fix her feelings. Instead, show consistency. Show calmness. Let your presence be something she doesn't have to earn or fear. You don't need to convince her to open up, just make it clear through your actions that she's safe to do so when she's ready. Sometimes, love is just about holding space. Not solving, not pressuring, just staying steady when she's used to storms. Reason 2, emotional safety testing. Another reason she might pull away has less to do with fear and more to do with observation. This is what we could call emotional safety testing, and again, it's often subconscious, not calculated. She might create distance to see how you respond to space. Do you panic? Get clingy? Try to control the situation? Or do you remain calm, respectful, and emotionally grounded? This test isn't about games, it's about protection. She may be trying to figure out, can I trust this person with my emotions? Will they hold steady if I need to step back and breathe? Many people are emotionally reactive. They confuse closeness with possession or distance with rejection. But someone who has done emotional work, someone who's learning how to love healthily, needs to know that their partner can handle emotional complexity without breaking down or becoming toxic. So when she pulls away, she might be watching not just what you say, but how you handle the discomfort. Do you give her space without punishment? Do you listen without defensiveness? That's the real test. Emotional safety isn't about being perfect or always knowing the right thing to say. It's about showing that you're grounded even when things feel uncertain. It's showing her you're allowed to have your own pace, and I don't need to control it to feel secure in myself. Reason 3, overwhelmed by intensity. When emotions start to run high, the experience can feel like being caught in a whirlwind. For many women, strong feelings can be both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The intensity of love, passion, or even vulnerability can become overwhelming quickly. This surge of emotions sometimes triggers a natural response to pull back, not because she doesn't care, but because she needs time and space to process what she's feeling. Think of it like this. When a storm approaches, sometimes the safest thing to do is to step inside, away from the chaos, until it passes or calms down. Similarly, emotional intensity can cause confusion, anxiety, or fear of losing control. She might step away to protect her emotional stability, to breathe, to regroup, and to make sense of the flood of feelings without being swept away. This withdrawal is not rejection. It's a pause button away to emotionally reset before re-engaging, with clarity and calm. How can you support her during this? Respect her need for space without pressure or judgment. Avoid trying to fix the situation immediately or demand explanations. Be a steady, patient presence who shows understanding without overwhelming her further. By giving her this breathing room, you're helping build trust and emotional safety that deepens the connection over time. Reason 4. Previous trauma or heartbreak. Many women carry invisible scars from past relationships or emotional wounds that haven't fully healed. When a new relationship starts to feel serious or real, those old hurts can resurface unexpectedly and intensely. Past trauma, whether from heartbreak, betrayal, emotional neglect, or abandonment, can live quietly beneath the surface, but it still influences present emotions and behaviors. Even if she deeply wants love and closeness, the fear of getting hurt again can cause her to instinctively pull back before the vulnerability becomes too great. This retreat isn't a reflection of how she feels about you. It's her nervous system trying to protect her from repeating painful experiences. Sometimes her mind sends signals that something feels too risky or unsafe based on those previous stories. Healing takes time, self-compassion, and often a safe and steady partner who understands the complexity behind these reactions. How can you help? Be patient and consistent. Show her through your actions that this relationship is different. Foster open, non-judgmental conversations when she's ready. Avoid rushing or pushing her to share before she feels safe. Encourage professional support if needed. Sometimes healing requires more than just time and love. By helping rewrite those old narratives, you both create a new foundation built on trust, safety, and mutual respect. Reason 5. Fear of rejection. Ironically, even when she cares deeply and feels a strong connection, the fear of being rejected or not measuring up can cause her to pull away emotionally before anything serious happens. This fear often runs beneath the surface, rooted in past experiences or deep insecurities, and it acts as a protective shield. She might worry that if she lets herself get too close, she could be abandoned, judged, or found not enough. This kind of anxiety isn't about you personally. It's about the risk she feels in being vulnerable and exposing parts of herself that she fears won't be accepted. The emotional withdrawal, in this case, serves as a way to avoid potential pain before it even has a chance to occur. It's a defense mechanism designed to minimize hurt by preemptively creating distance. Understanding this helps reframe her pulling away not as rejection, but as a survival tactic. How to respond? The best way to help her through this fear is through steady, patient reassurance expressed more through actions than words. Showing her consistently that she is loved, valued, and accepted for exactly who she is, even with flaws and imperfections, can gradually ease her fears. Creating a space free of judgment, where she feels safe to be imperfect, helps build trust. Remember, it's about cultivating emotional safety over time, not rushing for quick fixes. Reason 6. She's losing her sense of self. Another powerful reason a woman might emotionally pull back is when she begins to feel like she's losing her own identity in the relationship. This often happens when she feels herself becoming too dependent, sacrificing her personal goals, interests, or values, or compromising so much of who she is that she no longer recognizes herself. Relationships, while offering companionship and support, require a delicate balance between closeness and individuality. If she feels that balance tipping too far toward dependence, pulling back becomes a necessary act of self-preservation. It's a way for her to reconnect with her inner self and reestablish boundaries that protect her emotional and mental health. This kind of withdrawal is not about pushing you away or showing disinterest, but about maintaining her sense of autonomy and well-being. When someone feels trapped or overly enmeshed, Emotional distancing is often the mind and heart's way of seeking freedom and clarity. What can you do? The key is to encourage her personal growth and independence, supporting her interests outside the relationship without judgment or insecurity. Celebrate her uniqueness and show that you value her as a whole person, not just as your partner. Recognize that healthy relationships thrive when both partners feel free to be fully themselves, nurturing their passions, friendships, and goals alongside the partnership. By honoring this need for individuality, you help create a stronger, more authentic connection where both people can grow together and separately. Reason 7. Misaligned intentions sometimes. Even when the chemistry is strong and the connection feels exciting, she might emotionally pull away because she senses that your long-term goals or emotional needs don't quite align with hers. This can happen gradually or suddenly, but it often comes from an inner realization that despite the attraction, the relationship may not meet both of your deeper visions for the future. She may be looking for something different, whether that's about commitment, lifestyle, family, or emotional availability, and when she senses a mismatch, pulling back becomes a way to protect herself from investing too much in something that might not fulfill her needs. It's not about blame or failure, it's about honoring her truth and priorities. What can you do? The best approach is open, honest communication. Encourage conversations about goals and feelings early and often. Listen without defensiveness. Sometimes the healthiest choice is to acknowledge the differences, and other times it's finding common ground through empathy and compromise. Transparency builds trust and clarity, preventing misunderstandings that cause distance. Reason 8. Timing isn't right. Life can be complicated, and sometimes emotional withdrawal has less to do with the relationship itself and more to do with external pressures. She may be going through a difficult phase, career stress, family challenges, personal burnout, or emotional overwhelm that leaves her unable to be fully present or emotionally available. When life feels chaotic or draining, pulling back emotionally becomes a necessary form of self-care. She might want connection deeply, but simply doesn't have the bandwidth to engage fully right now. This isn't about losing interest. It's about needing space to regroup and restore balance. How to support her? Patience and compassion are key. Respect her current limits without pressure or guilt. Offer support in ways that feel helpful, but also allow her the freedom to take the time she needs. Understanding that timing affects emotional availability can relieve frustration and build resilience in the relationship. Sometimes, love means standing by patiently while the other person heals or navigates life's storms. Reason 9. Mixed signals from you. One of the most common reasons she might pull away emotionally is because of inconsistent behavior from your side. When communication feels hot and cold, like texting intensely one moment and then going quiet the next, or when your intentions aren't clear, it creates confusion. This inconsistency makes her unsure where she stands, which can trigger her protective instincts. To avoid potential hurt or disappointment, she may instinctively pull back to shield herself from emotional uncertainty. This isn't about mistrust alone. It's about her mind trying to create safety in an unpredictable environment. How to help? Be mindful and intentional in your communication. Aim for clarity and consistency. If you're unsure about something, be honest instead of vague. Consistent, respectful behavior builds trust and helps her feel secure enough to stay emotionally present. Reason 10. She's afraid of falling too fast sometimes. The emotional connection feels so strong, so intense, that it actually feels frightening. Falling fast can feel like losing control, making her vulnerable to getting hurt. Even if she's attracted and cares deeply, she might slow things down deliberately, not to push you away, but to find emotional footing. This pause gives her time to process the feelings safely, to evaluate if she can trust the relationship to be steady and supportive. Rushing love can sometimes feel risky, so pulling back is a way to protect her heart. What can you do? Respect her pace. Encourage open conversations about feelings without pressure. Let her know you value her emotional safety above all. When she feels supported and going at a speed that feels comfortable, she's more likely to open up fully over time. Reason 11. She's subconsciously testing boundaries sometimes when she pulls back emotionally. It's because she's subconsciously testing the boundaries within the relationship. This testing isn't always intentional or fully conscious. It's more of an instinctive way to understand how you respect her autonomy and emotional space. She's observing how you respond when she needs distance or time to herself. Will you honor her limits with patience and respect? Or will you push too hard, react negatively, or become controlling? These responses matter deeply to her because they signal whether the relationship is safe and supportive enough for her to open up fully. This subtle testing helps her build trust over time. If she senses that you truly respect her individuality while remaining emotionally available, she feels safer to stay connected and vulnerable. How to respond? Pay close attention to her signals and be consistent in respecting her boundaries. Show through your actions, not just words, that you value her autonomy and emotional needs. Avoid pressuring her for more closeness than she's ready to give, and instead create an environment where she can feel secure in being herself, without fear of losing your acceptance. Reason 12. Cultural or family expectations sometimes. The reasons behind emotional withdrawal aren't just about the relationship itself, but involve complex external pressures, family traditions, cultural norms, religious beliefs, or societal expectations can create significant inner conflict for her. When the relationship challenges these deep-rooted traditions or faces disapproval from people she cares about, it can lead to emotional distance as she tries to navigate this difficult terrain. This isn't about doubting her feelings for you, but about managing the stress and uncertainty that comes with conflicting loyalties and expectations. The weight of these external influences can feel overwhelming, causing her to retreat emotionally as she tries to find balance between honoring her own desires and respecting her family or culture. How can you help? The key is empathy and patience. Recognize that these pressures are real and meaningful to her, and avoid dismissing or minimizing their impact. Provide a safe space for open conversations where she can express her fears and frustrations without judgment. Reassure her that you support her and are willing to face these challenges together, giving her strength and courage to navigate the complex emotions involved. Sometimes, standing by her calmly and consistently is the greatest gift you can offer while she works through these external conflicts. Reason 13. Hormonal or emotional cycles. Emotions naturally ebb and flow due to a variety of biological and psychological factors, and for many women, hormonal cycles play a significant role in shaping how they feel and respond emotionally. Fluctuations in hormones, such as those experienced during menstruation, pregnancy, or menopause, can affect mood, energy levels, and emotional sensitivity. Beyond hormones, mental health factors like anxiety, depression, or simply the pressures of everyday stress can also influence her emotional availability. At times, she might feel overwhelmed or drained, and closeness or intimacy can feel like too much to handle. This kind of temporary emotional withdrawal isn't a reflection of her feelings toward you personally. Rather, it's a natural response to her body and mind seeking balance. It's important to recognize that these cycles can make her seem distant or less communicative at times, but these moments usually pass as her internal state stabilizes. How to support her? The best way to help is through empathy and patience. Acknowledge that her feelings may fluctuate and avoid taking temporary distance personally. Offer her space when she needs it, but also remain emotionally available and supportive. Small gestures of kindness and reassurance during these times can make a big difference. Being aware of these natural cycles helps reduce misunderstandings and builds a foundation of compassion and trust. Reason 14. She's unsure how you feel. Vulnerability is inherently risky, and if she isn't confident or clear about your feelings for her, She may pull back emotionally as a protective measure. When emotions run deep but the other person's intentions or level of commitment seem uncertain, it creates an internal conflict that can trigger retreat. She might fear that expressing her feelings too openly could lead to rejection, disappointment, or emotional pain. Instead of risking exposure to this hurt, she chooses to distance herself emotionally, which acts as a shield. This kind of withdrawal is not about losing interest or caring less. It's about guarding her heart until she feels more secure in your intentions. Ambiguity or inconsistent signals from you can amplify this uncertainty, making her hesitate to fully engage. What can you do? The key is clarity and consistency. Be open and honest about your feelings and intentions, expressing them both verbally and through your actions. Make it clear that you value her and see a meaningful future together. If that's true, encourage honest conversations where she feels safe to share her fears and doubts without judgment. When she feels certain about where you stand, she's more likely to lower her defenses and invest emotionally in the relationship. Consistent reassurance and transparency build the trust needed to overcome fear and deepen connection. Reason 15. She doesn't want to appear too available. Cultural conditioning often teaches women to manage how much interest they show early on in a relationship. There's a widespread belief that appearing too available or overly eager might lessen their perceived value or make them seem desperate. As a result, pulling back emotionally can be a way for her to maintain a sense of balance and control, preserving her dignity and self-respect. This behavior isn't about playing games. It's often an unconscious response influenced by societal expectations around dating and relationships. She may want to keep some mystery or space to protect herself from getting hurt or seeming vulnerable too quickly. How can you respond? Understand that this is often less about you and more about social conditioning. Show consistent interest without overwhelming her. Demonstrate that you value her for who she is, not just for the chase. Encouraging authentic, open communication can help her feel safe enough to drop those guarded behaviors over time, creating a more genuine connection. Reason 16. She's reevaluating the relationship when emotions start to run deep and the connection feels serious. It's natural for her to take a step back to honestly reflect on what she wants long-term. This reevaluation is a thoughtful process where she considers if the relationship aligns with her goals, values, and vision for the future. She may be asking herself questions like, is this partnership healthy? Do I feel supported? Can I see myself growing here? This pause is crucial. It's her way of ensuring that she's making decisions that honor her well-being and happiness. Emotional intensity often triggers this kind of reflection because it signals that the relationship is moving beyond casual, and that calls for more clarity. How to support her? Respect her need for space and time to reflect. Encourage open, honest dialogue about what each of you wants. Show willingness to listen without defensiveness. This process may be challenging, but is ultimately beneficial. It can lead to a stronger, clearer foundation for your relationship if both of you are aligned. Reason 17. She needs emotional recalibration. Everyone, at some point, needs moments of solitude to process their feelings and experiences. Emotional recalibration is essentially stepping back to take a mental and emotional breath, to sort through complex emotions, reduce overwhelm, and regain clarity. When she pulls back, it might simply be her natural way of resetting emotionally so she can return to the relationship, feeling more balanced and centered. This pause is not a rejection or a sign of fading interest, but rather a healthy, self-aware approach to managing emotional intensity. By giving herself space to process, she prevents emotional burnout and builds resilience, which ultimately benefits both her and the relationship. It's important to understand that sometimes, in order to love fully, she first needs to take a step back to gather her emotional strength. How can you support her? Respect her need for space and avoid taking it personally. Let her know you are available when she is ready to reconnect without pressuring her. Encourage her to prioritize her emotional well-being and reassure her that taking time for herself is a sign of strength, not weakness. Being patient and understanding during these moments builds trust and deepens your connection over time. Reason 18. Fear of losing independence, and freedom are core values for many women, and the thought of falling deeply in love can sometimes feel intimidating. If it threatens that independence, she might worry that surrendering to intense feelings will make her emotionally dependent, causing her to lose control over her life or sense of self. This fear can make her pull back emotionally as a protective mechanism to maintain her autonomy and avoid feeling trapped or overly reliant on another person. It's important to realize that this withdrawal isn't about rejecting love or intimacy, but about preserving the freedom she cherishes. When someone values their independence deeply, they need to feel confident that a relationship will enhance rather than diminish that freedom. How can you help? Demonstrate through your words and actions that love and independence can coexist harmoniously. Support her personal goals, interests, and growth alongside your relationship. Show that a healthy partnership allows both people to thrive individually as well as together. When she feels safe maintaining her independence, she will be more willing to open up emotionally and deepen the connection, knowing that love doesn't have to come at the cost of freedom. Reason 19. She's been let down too many times past disappointments, and betrayals can leave deep emotional scars that shape how she approaches new relationships. If she has experienced repeated letdowns, whether through broken trust, unkept promises, or emotional neglect, she may carry an internal defense mechanism that activates even in good, healthy relationships. This protective barrier makes her cautious about fully opening up because her mind is trying to avoid repeating past pain, even when things are going well. Those old wounds can trigger moments of emotional withdrawal as she tests if the relationship is truly safe and trustworthy. How can you support her? Patience, consistency, and reliability are key. Show her through your actions over time that you are different and dependable. Build trust slowly by being honest, keeping your promises, and demonstrating genuine care. Understanding her past struggles helps you respond with empathy instead of frustration, making it easier for her to lower her guard when she's ready. Reason 20. She's processing her identity within the relationship the closer she gets. Emotionally, the more she might start to question who she is becoming in the context of the relationship. Deep connections often spark self-reflection about personal values, independence, and authenticity. She may pull back to explore important questions like, can I still be fully myself in this connection? Am I growing in a way that feels true to who I am? This internal evaluation is about ensuring that the relationship supports her personal identity, rather than reshapes it in ways that feel uncomfortable or restrictive. It's a vulnerable but necessary process as she seeks to balance intimacy with self-expression. How to support her? Encourage open dialogue about identity, growth, and boundaries. Reassure her that you value her uniqueness and want to support her journey of self-discovery. Show that you respect her individuality and want the relationship to be a space where both of you can grow without losing yourselves. This validation helps her feel safe enough to stay close while exploring her evolving sense of self. Remember, pulling back doesn't always mean pulling away. Sometimes it's a woman's way of protecting her heart or reclaiming her sense of self. If you want lasting connection, the answer isn't chasing its understanding. If this video helped you see things more clearly, drop a like, subscribe for more insights, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep growing together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.